Welcome to the Crafty Mini, and in this one I'm going to do a product review. So when I'm not painting and doing various other sort of modelling and creative things, I love to spend any spare time I've got doing roleplay games. Now, I cut my teeth when I was very young on the old advanced D&D 2nd edition. I've gone right the way through with all those, and then other things like Call of Cthulhu. We've done some Forbidden Lands, Powered by the Apocalypse games, and so on. Obviously the Alien RPG, which I did a playlist on the channel a few months back. But I love, obviously with the theme that runs through a lot of my projects with the miniatures, I love the horror. And I found this book was randomly at a military miniature fair, and I just saw it and I fell in love with the art on the front, and I grabbed it. And it's called Shiver, a role-playing game in the strange and the unknown. Now, with modern day issues of work and life getting in the way, it's hard to sit down and get a full big chunky campaign. So occasionally what it is we're doing like one shots and episodics. Like if we do a campaign, it's usually like a predetermined amount of sessions, and the idea is it's almost like a TV show, Monster of the Week type thing. And then I saw this rule set, as I say, fell in love with the artwork, got reading on the back, and realised this is exactly what I want. So it's a horror RPG. It can lean into like the Cthulhu mythos, sci-fi things. I'll put a list up of films and TV shows that are very inspired by for this game, and the idea is you can do them as either one shot, so it's a one and done, or you can do an episodic, and it's just whenever you can get it to the table you can play. This is not going to be a full down sort of rules review. This is just my initial thoughts. I've got a couple of games under my belt now, and just what I think, so we're going to go from there. Right, so one of the things in this I will say is if you're a new player to RPGs, this is a very good system. It's very, very simple. It's not too difficult, not too crunchy with all the rules and such. However, you do need a good games master, or what they call in this a director, someone who can get through the rules and figure out, because there's certain aspects of when you're playing that you need a GM who's quick, can think quickly on their feet. And if players do things that you're not planning for, you can sort of swing it back round and manipulate things and fudge things if you need to. So that's one thing I will say. But as a player, as a newbie, really, really easy. So it's a dice pool system. Yeah, there's unique dice, but then in the book it shows you just need D6s and D8s, and it'll tell you what each number will mean. I would say get the dice because they're pretty cool. And it's just a case of rolling however many dice your skill needs, and then counting up the successes, and it's that easy. Very similar to the Alien RPG and the Free League stuff. Now, along with that, you've got this cool thing. It's the Doom track, and effectively what happens on a couple of particular dice, if you roll this specific symbol, it goes up by a minute, and then every 15 minutes something happens within the main story to do with the main bad guy, and then when it gets to an hour, that's the finale. So you can have games that run really, really quick in that sense, and others that are a bit slow because it is down to the die roll. This is a mechanic that I absolutely love. This is a really cool idea, and it adds that sort of tension. And you've got this, this big bad, someone like, for example, let's use Jason from Friday the 13th. He's walking around the camp, and then on the hour he will attack, and then it's how the party deal with him. So confrontation's always going to happen. There's always going to be some sort of combat. Which again, the rules are very, very fluid, very, very quick to learn. There's not a lot there in terms of, so for example, one of my favourites is Call of Cthulhu by Chaosium, but it's very, very heavy, very maths heavy, and if you get people who struggle with that, they're not going to enjoy that. Whereas this, it's very much like, okay, I want to bust open that door to get to the weapons cache. Okay, roll a strength, so you'd roll. But if let's say you don't get any successes, but you get intelligence successes, the director basically says something like, oh, well, instead of kicking down the door, you actually realised it was just on the latch and you've unlocked it. So there's ways around it, so no character feels underpowered, which I like. And again, for newbies, it gives them that freedom to express themselves a bit more. Really, really good. The other thing I want to talk about is the artwork. So you've got various screenshots that have been popping up through the video. The artwork is beautiful, absolutely stunning. I love it. It's capturing that 80s sort of VCR feel. Really cool. You've got like, I mean, on the cover you've basically got, it's a knockoff of Ripley, Van Helsing, and like a generic jock guy from sort of Stranger Things, Buffy, that sort of type. Artwork's beautiful, and within the book you can do pretty much anything you can think of, from The Thing to Dracula. You can even do like a medieval gothic horror, time travel, absolutely anything you can think of, it is available in those rules. And this is one of the reasons why I think this is a good rule set. If you can get a good director, someone who's willing to sit and learn the rules or has a good understanding of roleplay games, and you've got a bunch of newbies that want to play a horror/thriller RPG, then go for it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put some more images and I'll talk about some of the games that I've played and what my experiences were. Right, so the first game I played was like a Stranger Things. There were a bunch of teenagers, and we pretty much did the first season of Stranger Things. So there's a facility that a lot of our parents work at, that's in the woods, that no one's allowed near, that do these secret shady experiments, and it led from there. Now, one of the things I enjoyed was, because of, obviously with you being kids, you're not these super duper, strong military types. You can't run around and just, kick doors in or, use guns and things. So you've got to think about how you're going to interact with stuff in the game, and that was a lot of fun. So there it was more, how we're gonna, how do you get the adults to trust you? How do you convince them that something's wrong and all this sort of stuff? And then you're leaning on your own sense of morality as a child, as a teenager, and that was a lot of fun. Very similar to Tales of the Loop, if anyone's played that. That introductory mission on there, very similar to that, and it was a load of fun. A good starting scenario, I'd say. And with the popularity of Stranger Things over the last few years, it's something a lot of people wouldn't mind wanting to try, and again, this game I'd recommend for that. Now, for the second game, we basically did the film Aliens. So we were the Colonial Marines, going in, just door kicking. Now, yes, I've got the Free League Alien RPG, which is fantastic and nails the theme of aliens. But with this, the idea was we did something a little bit different, in that we know the aliens are there, and it's all about us fighting our way down to where the sort of brood mother was, the queen alien. For combat, really quick, nice tempo. You're not sort of bogged down in turns like you get with other RPG rule systems, which I liked. Again, it's a lot more forgiving, and it's all about the creativity of the player, which is fun. Now, some of the guys we played with, they struggled a little bit, but once they saw other players who have role played for a while, or at least a couple of times before, saw how their imagination worked and what they were choosing to do, the newer players really got into it. And it made, because this is what you want for a new player. You want to make them feel powerful and amazing. You don't just want to go, oh no, you can't do that, you can't do that. Let their imagination run wild. And again, this is something that this game, I definitely think it lends itself to. Right, so the next one was like a police detective drama, a one-shot, which was really nice and refreshing, and it was basically in the sort of vein of Seven. So no monsters or anything in this one. It was a couple of cops trying to figure out this serial killer's motive. And with the Doom track, what we basically did was every 15 minutes on the Doom track, we basically said it was a longer period of time in game, and that's when another victim would appear, until eventually the 60, we were trying to catch him before the 60 minutes, because we said it was when it hits the last minute of the Doom clock, he completes his sort of magnus opus and he gets away. So it was race against time, which I thought was really refreshing, really interesting game, and a lot of fun. With this one, it was more of there was a lot of skill rolls in terms of trying to figure out clues and things, and we jumped to conclusions in game, which the director, the games master, would then use to help us further on. And this is something I go back to earlier, where I mentioned that you need a good director, in terms of, because the players might come up with stuff and you've got to think on your feet a little bit more. and this became very apparent in this game, because we would jump into like really strange conclusions in terms of like the identity of the killer, you know, why he was doing this and such. But yeah, really fun, very different to what I was expecting with the rule set. It was refreshing to not have like monsters and things, and again, a testament to the fact that you can do anything with this game. The imagination is the limit. And then the last game we did was, so this was a newer one, but basically if anyone's seen the film Wreck, so we did that. So it starts off as like a zombie film in this apartment block, and we're all trying to survive. We're residents of the apartment block, but one of us was, because we wanted to do, if you've ever seen the film, there's a spin in the second film that catches you out, and it's a really clever reveal. But so one of the characters was actually a priest, and he'd come back from service or whatever, and he starts saying a prayer, and then these zombies stopped attacking. It turns out they were actually possessed people, because this building's been cursed. And so we went through and basically did Rec 1 and 2. The way the doom clock worked was really fun in that one. So we agreed that every 15 minutes on the doom clock, that's obviously something bad's going to happen, but this entity that's cursed the building is going to, you know, become more and more apparent until it openly attacks us, and we can't win, but we've got to find certain artifacts to do a ritual to stop her. It didn't go well. Before we even got to quarter to 2, it was over. But really fun game, a lot of fun, and I'm glad it's something we tried. It was something a bit different. We're on about now, we want to do like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show now, whereby we'll obviously everyone will play a member of the team. So you got the titular Buffy character, the Willow, Xander, Giles, and all that. So that's something we want to look at, and more with the time travel as well. But yeah, this is a very good game. I know this is a very quick review, and I'm not going into the rules or anything. It was just my initial thoughts on the actual game itself. I'll do a full rules review in the future if anyone wants to see that. Let us know in the comments. But this is absolutely brilliant. As I say, the artwork's stunning. It's really easy to get into. The rules are not difficult. However, you need a good director or games master. Someone who can sit and read the rules and figure it out, because there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that they need to keep going at a pace that the players aren't aware of. But in terms for new players, this is a win. Absolute brilliant rule system, and I'm looking forward to getting some more shivering as the weeks go by. But yeah, I'll do a full review if people want to see that. But if not, go out and try it. Just have a look. Just have a look online and just see what people think. I'd honestly recommend it. The dice aren't, you don't have to buy the dice, but they are cool. And it's one of those, like with the Alien game, I could just use D6s, but I wanted the dice because it's all themed. But yeah, go and check out Shiver. It's a very interesting game, and I'm looking forward to getting more games under my belt. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.